What's going on, squad? It's another wonderful day on a Brodacious Life. It's me, of course, Jonathan. Of course, I've got the famous Dr. J with me here today. What's going on, Dr. J?
What's up, man? I'm here at my new crib, getting stuff unpacked, and yeah, living the dream.
Moving on up.
That's it. I
Moving
got a
on up.
fire lit in the fireplace, man. This house has got this wood burning stove right in the middle. It heats the whole thing. My central unit, it's probably about 40 something degrees outside, which for me is freezing cold because I don't like cold weather. But man, my central unit doesn't even have to come on. This wood burning stove will run you out.
Fantastic, man. Well, we've got a fantastic topic for us today. One that I'm kind of passionate about. Dr. J, I know you're passionate about because you got a little something going on the side over there. And I'm not talking about honeys. I'm talking about side hustles from home. What's
That's right.
Josh?
There ain't no honeys. No, we got a baby coming. There ain't no honeys on the side. Oh, Lord. I love some side hustles, man. I do a little bit of side hustling on my own. I got big dreams too. I think one day maybe some of my side hustles become my main hustles. But yeah, dude, I'm excited about this topic.
It's just there's just so much going on with side hustles, and there's lots of different options that are out there for everybody. We're going to talk about, five or six. Don't feel like this is the limit. You can go online and Google just about anything. There's something you can be doing from home.
Yeah, I mean, today everyone's trying to find a few extra bucks to make living at home easier. I know we are at my house. My wife, B, and I, we're trying to, we're having those conversations. We got a baby on the way. What's the path to getting us home to spend more time with baby Jeremy? He's on his way. And with inflation is up nearly 9%, every dollar seems to count. I know, many of us are receiving raises at the end of the year, but we're getting like 3 or 5% raises, but with 9% inflation, it's still 4% less money.
It almost
So,
feels like a pay
we've got to
cut.
make more money from home. What'd you say?
I say it almost feels like a pay cut at that
It
rate.
is. How is it I get a raise and get a pay cut? I don't know. What kind of
On the
side
same.
hustles do you recommend, man? What are you into?
So the first one that I always recommend that I'm very excited about is creating an online course or educational material. Everyone's trying to solve a problem in their personal life or business lives. No one, despite what Instagram, Instabook, Facebook, whatever you got, no one is perfectly out
Instabook.
there just slaying it in every aspect of their life. Think about a struggle that you are having or have had and create a class that can help someone go through that struggle and win.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And as far as create an online course, can I throw out a place that I've used, an online
Yeah,
system
go
that
for
actually
it.
do that? I've built a couple of them out through Thinkific. Again, think and then ific on the end, thinkific.com. And you actually can go in and design your own online course for free and then monetize it as you want to go. So there's just a resource of some stuff that I've done. I know a couple courses I've done, I've charged about $50, and then maybe after I bought a membership per course, I'm profiting about 45, but it's a pretty cool side hustle. I got a friend of mine that charges $199 per online course,
That's the way
and
to
it
do it.
was totally worth the value. And dude is killing the game. Can you imagine that? $150. Let's say you have 12 people take your course every 3 months, dude. That's more than an additional minimum wage job, and do it at your house at night. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, the thing is like once you kind of get that infrastructure in, the course itself is already built. So some of that, depending on how you design that class, it's something that is it's something that's kind of already pre-built in. So you're not having to rethink the process. You can just sell it as almost like a straight up class that they can buy straight, or you can do what I know your friend Eric did, where you do the class, but you also get mentoring as part of that, and that's part of that premium. How you get $200 plus for people to pay for something is you're going to get $200. Now, I'm going to sell you this, but I'm still going to work from home, as I'm going to sell you as that time where you and I can talk together and work together on how to learn more and have that one-on-one time. So there's other ways that you can, the more you value that you add into, and that's what it's really about. You got to have a good value for
Mhm.
what you're offering out there. If you just create some class about something minimal, then you're not doing any other inputs or anything like that. It might not be worth $500 a month. But if you're going out there and you're offering your personal services or your time to go along paired with that, that'd be a great option for someone out there.
Yeah, I think that's huge. People don't want to pay for a guru. Like I'm over gurus where you got to pay $5,000. I need
Yeah.
somebody that's an average Joe that
Yeah.
has done whatever it is I'm trying to do and can walk me because I'm an average Joe. Just a brodacious dude. Somebody that can walk me
Rodaciously.
through it. And so you may think that because your last name is not whatever and you're not a multi-billionaire late night TV. No, you're the kind of guy that is the most valuable. So I think that's huge. And many millennials are finding that they hate the job they originally chose and they're wanting to learn new skills and trade. And it's a great opportunity to teach something new to someone wanting to learn a new task.
Yeah, I'm currently building an online course. I've been working through I don't know if you watch Pat Flynn on YouTube. I'm addicted to Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn for the win. And that's one of my favorite podcasts and YouTube channels to consume. And I've been doing like his little online courses and pairing and developing my own online course for restaurant owners that will help build. Remember, we talked about intellectual infrastructure, we talked about in our previous episodes. So, all I have to decide is, who's my target market. There's 1+ million restaurants, owners in the United States, but more specifically, those newbie owners who are struggling to keep their heads above the water. 70% of restaurants are single unit operators who are families who are looking to live a somewhat brodacious normal life. So how can I help them find that brodacious life? Well, it's providing that infrastructure into their business and teaching them the ways of the force, if you will, inside of their restaurant, and creating things like checklists, order guides, produce guides. How do you find the right meat and produce vendors? And then you have to decide, what is my product going to solve? My
Mhm.
product is going to solve their time management and business structure to run more efficient business that does not need constant input, and more importantly, micromanagement. Because what we're trying to do is free up their time. They need time too that works, so they can be with their family, they can go to church, they can live life that's somewhat normal human being. When I was a restaurant owner, that was extremely difficult and something I could not do. I lacked the ability to develop intellectual infrastructure. I was so stuck in doing everything every single day a certain way that I was actually hurting myself. So again, I'm not some crazy over the top, crazy professional. I'd like to think I'm a ninja chef, but I'm not a certified master chef, at least not yet. But what I am is though, is that somebody who's gone through this and been through the hurt, and I don't want somebody else to be put through the meat grinder of owning a business.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And this kind of gets us to another one. Let's talk a little bit about selling professional services. Like you kind of talked about creating a course to help people do what you had done so successfully. But what about selling professional business services in general?
Like we said, there's many people who are on the job hunt. Those people need, these people who are on the job hunt, maybe they need people to review their resumes, or businesses might need you to create social media ads or be a virtual assistant. I came across more and more businesses who are outsourcing their assistants to third-party companies. Maybe they don't need a full-time assistant, just someone to direct some phone calls and maybe digitally file a few items, but they can pay a quarter of the price and share that assistant virtually with other businesses and reduce the cost on the company. This is a great opportunity for someone wanting to just work strictly from home in front of their computer. They can be there. The phones are directed, phone calls are directed in through their call system or their cell phone. And then basically they direct them where to go from there. They take any messages. Maybe they help file a couple things that are digital, because most people are moving more towards digital filing than physical copies of everything. I know I'm that guy. I can't keep up with a piece of paper to save my life, but I have a Google Drive that is just slap full to the max of every recipe and everything that I have. So somebody's got to be there to help set that up for these businesses. And you could be doing it from home. If you're like a mom and you're needing to be home for a year or two with your little kids, this is a great option for someone out there.
Yeah, I think that's huge. This is similar, but not. But can I tell you one of my side hustles that has to do with professional services that I'm probably
What's that?
doing this summer? I'm saving up for it. I'm be able to purchase it next month, but I'm buying a nice commercial grade $1,200. You can hear my chair cracking. Sorry. I'm going to buy a $1,200 pressure washer. And I have found out that the going rate for pressure washing sidewalks and driveways, like when somebody sells a house, they've got to get the front of their house pressure washed, like the driveways and the sidewalks. And the going rate for that where I live is about $350. So I figured out in an average subdivision, I'll charge $200, and I'm going to get out and I'll charge $200 per job. And I'm going to get out and I'm going to pressure wash sidewalks and patios, $200 a pop, with a goal to do 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday for most of the summer. And then I figured it up when I finished the year. If I got on and going well, you're talking about $20,000 a year just a pressure wash. And can we just talk about how soothing pressure washing is? Like when you're getting it going and you're like watching the dirt clear out slowly, like I just get into it. So, I mean, pressure wash side hustle. What do
I
you
think you
think?
got another side hustle that you do that's a part of your profession as well that you make money. I know it kind of applies. We're talking about being a band director, but it also applies to maybe some other way that, if they're a chef, maybe they can sell off some baked goods on the side. But, you do your professional services, you write drill and music for other marching bands
Yep.
and stuff.
Mhm.
Think about what is your profession doing and how can you create a service or a good that goes along with your profession that you're currently doing. Because if you're needing that item, I guarantee you somebody else in your profession needs that item as well.
Well, I think that's huge too. And you're talking about figuring out the best side hustle. One of the reasons I'm going into pressure washing is because I'm also a real estate investor. Fun fact, working on possibly becoming an agent. I'm taking the required work. But one of the things that I want to do so that I can network better is I want to meet other investors. But when I meet other investors, I want to add value to them. And right now, it's really hard to kind of connect band directing and real estate together. But as a person who can do some pressure washing, I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to pressure washing some houses for free. Because the greater thing is there's some folks out there that maybe I can add value to, some investors that need some help. That's a thing that I can do. It's a skill that I have. But what it's really doing is giving me an opportunity to meet people, help people, gain influence with people, which will overall increase my opportunities for both real estate investment. And who knows, if I become a real estate agent one day, if that were to occur, maybe I'll meet some people and increase some contacts by adding value to people. And right now, expecting nothing in return, truthfully.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I believe you can become an official, like a notary. Do you know anything about that?
So I don't know much about it, but I know it is insanely hard to find a notary in my small town. So this is actually one of those things that I saw on an online YouTube thing was talking about becoming a mobile notary. Basically, put yourself out there on social media and local ads and say, hey, you know what? I'm a local notary. I can drive out to you, or you can meet me if you have like an office on premise at your house, and you could sign those things. I think that's a cool way to kind of make some money. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what it takes to be a professional notary. I don't know what
Mm-mm.
licensing to go behind that, but I thought that was a pretty cool thing. I mean, all I see them doing for me is always signing papers. So I'm sure there's a whole nother side of that someone's going to roll their eyes at me for. But I was like, that'd be a pretty cool thing. Because out here in the country, there's like, there's not a lot of notaries. I got to drive all the way to Jackson and hope out, because even our like FedEx stores and our UPS, they don't always have a notary available. So sometimes you can catch one at a post office, but our little post office, if you miss that little lady's shift, you're not getting a notary. So she was out for COVID for like 3 months, and like they straight up did not have a notary inside of our post office for like three
That's
straight
the
months.
craziest thing. Now, I know in our county, all the school systems have a notary. Like
Okay.
it's usually the front lady at the counter.
They're very nice.
Yeah, my bank has a notary. But I would tell you, you talking about a good side hustle though, man, it seems like these days, especially in stuff dealing with real estate, it's like I'm notarizing stuff all the time. So what I wouldn't give, I'd almost pay a premium price to have a notary that I could get access to on a weekend. I'm just throwing that
Oh
out there. A
yeah. For
weekend
sure.
notary. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I'd pay for that.
I feel like we don't need a notary until it's the weekend. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A. You don't crave Chick-fil-A until it's Sunday. And then all you think about, I got to pass by one on my way to church. And every single Sunday, I'm just looking at thing like, if I could just have a fried chicken biscuit and a sweet tea right now, if I could just mix church and Jesus's chicken in the same place, that'd be a whole new holy experience.
Yeah, speaking of eating chicken, let me give you another business one. You ready?
Yeah, go
Did
for
you
it.
know that you can get paid to be somebody's friend?
What?
Yeah, rentafriend.com. I kid you not. Rentafriend.com.
Okay.
You can sign up. You can charge up to $50 an hour and set your own schedule. And you just go to concerts and family functions and VIP events and just be people's friends. You can earn up to $2,000 a week and get some free dinners. And yeah, and it says on there, just so we're clear, this is not Las Vegas. It says on their website, solely a platonic friendship website. I want to throw that out there and make sure nobody's like, getting the wrong idea here.
Gosh, this sounds sketchy as all get out.
Look, I kid you not, when we were getting the notes ready for this, I wanted to throw a few things out there for fun. I thought this was a good time to go, yeah, evidently you can get paid.
Evidently.
Another
one of being, okay, go for it.
Did you know, as on the real estate side too, there's a thing called it's called pad split. And if you have a house, instead of renting the whole house, you can rent the rooms of the house that share a common living room area, but it's called pad split. There's a few things on it, but if you have a house sitting somewhere that you just want to rent by the room, you actually can rent rooms. There's another thing called house hacking, where maybe you have a big house, but your kids have moved out or something. You have a basement that's open. You can rent out your basement, or you can use Airbnb to rent out a room in your house. I mean, you can pull in a couple $100 a month, easy on a one single weekend doing that.
Fantastic. Last one I had, like, becoming an official, was being a wedding official. I'm always kind of cautious on this that's just me and my personal religious reasons. But there are people out there who are looking for wedding officials that is not necessarily a pastor. Maybe they're not from a religious background, or they want to do a non-traditional wedding. I know wedding officials who are making $300 to $500 for their Saturday. So it's something that's out there that's an option for people. I have several friends who are licensed as, wedding officials, and it's a great way for them to make some money on the weekends and, enjoy the process and be with friends and, have a good time. Because, especially when you're when you're not necessarily a pastor, you kind of get to have all the fun of the wedding without, that stigma of that's just the pastor. He's there to do the ceremony and dip.
Throw this out there too. You can go to ulc.org with the Universal Life Church. With the Universal Life Church, you can actually become an ordained minister for free.
That's scary.
Throw that out there. You could become an ordained minister. You can get you a print thing, a certificate, put it on your wall, be like, I'm an ordained minister. They called me Reverend Dr. J.
Isn't that what happened to that guy who went down to like South America with his cult?
I don't know.
There's a thin line between being a religious official and being a cult leader.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid right now. Okay, we're gonna stop there. Look, sorry, carry on.
Number 4, what we got?
Look, create an online business, which is what we're doing here. You and I have actually created an online business that we have a lot of fun. It adds a lot of value. We do it through podcast, YouTube, and if you go to abrodaciouslife.com, you really can see our web presence, which, pause a minute, go check out abrodaciouslife.com, not to whatever for us, because you can see how, if you're listening through this podcast and YouTube and everything else, what you may not realize is all these other things, we're trying to add value to people for free. Obviously, you downloaded this podcast or you're watching on YouTube. We don't charge for that. But over time, we've created a resource page. And when you go to that resource page, it's a chance for us to add value. One day we may offer some products and services. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for that we could market off that online presence. But yeah, it doesn't really, other than the cost of our website, it doesn't cost anything to create an online presence. And we don't, but you could be selling and marketing. You could market your online course through your website.
Exactly.
I got excited about this.
it can be done in several ways, but you have to have do you have a particular taste in something? Maybe you could curate a collection of items that other people would purchase from. I have a friend, he's an old sous chef, and he collects Jordans. He has hundreds of Jordans. He could literally buy a house with the number of Nike Jordans he has in his house. It is wild.
Is
They
this
go up
Frosty
the
Banks?
walls. No, it's not
It's not.
Frosty Banks. But
Can
Frosty
we do a 3-way episode with Frosty Banks? I've loved some of your interviews with Frosty Banks. I want to meet Frosty Banks.
Oh, we can definitely bring him on. I want to bring him on for the holidays to talk about holiday cooking. So that's in the works.
Yes. I got
But,
you. Sorry, back to the topic at hand.
that's a precursor, I guess, for a conversation that's coming. But he curates these shoes with different online vendors, and then he sells through links. Others he has in his personal collection. So he curates this collection of custom Jordans, and there's hundreds and hundreds of different types of Jordans that are out there. There's Louis Vuitton Jordans. He's a Dallas Cowboy fan, so he's got like 10 different Dallas Cowboy Jordans, but he curates these and he sells them, and he makes thousands of dollars a month. So he was actually making, I paid him $63,000 a year, and he was actually making more money selling his Jordans. I had to ask if he was a drug dealer one day. I was like, dude, just be honest with me. Like, there's just no way. And he's like, no, man. And he opened up his online account and he just showed me this. He's like, yeah. I was like, I sell over 1,500 pairs of Jordans a month. He says each pair of Jordans is worth $200 to $500.
Wow, man.
And again, he just curates and sells them. And a lot of it is just online, kind of like how we do like an Amazon affiliate. It's kind of that same
Right.
concept. So it's just a good thing out there.
That's totally cool. Totally cool. Totally cool. Well, so, let's talk about real estate investing, man. This is one that I get passionate about. It's pretty huge, man. I'm all in on real estate.
I knew you were going to
investing
like
right
this
now.
one. I knew you were going to like number 5.
Yeah, I may add some stuff. You want to go first and talk a little bit about it, and then I'll just jump in with all kinds of stuff.
So real estate investing, I know Dr. J gets really, really passionate about it. My cliff note is do you have an extra room for rent? It may be easier than you think to rent out a space to another person. How would an extra, $500-$600 be for you to use your in-law suite above that garage? It's just holding junk from 5 Christmases ago. Do you have a family property that you could rent? There's some options and things that are out there. There's also people who are looking to rent space for gardening. That's something that my dad was looking for. Is could he find somebody that would let him use a patch of land to grow vegetables on? You see that a little bit more in the city. If you have land in the city, that might be a little way that you can maybe hustle out some of your yard space to accommodate to somebody. Somebody might pay you $100, $200, or maybe even better. You might not even have to go to the grocery store. What if they grew vegetables in your yard? That's if you ever heard of, oh darn it, it's coming out of my head now, but there's a farmer in Canada, and that's what he does. He actually grows lettuces and things in people's front yards. And what his rent is basically to these people is he gives them 20% of all the produce grown on their land. He gives to the homeowners, and he pays all of their water bill. So he has their water bill and they get produce. And basically their entire, instead of having a front yard, imagine all that grass that you're wasting. Because think about it, all that grass does, it just wastes real estate. It just hogs up water. It's actually one of the most unecological things you can grow is grass. But imagine turning all that grass space in your yard into a garden that someone else curates. You just let them take that land and use that land, and then you get 20% of the profits or produce, and they pay your water bill.
Look, there's
Curtis
so
Stone.
many things.
Curtis Stone is the name of the grower.
I love it. Is that a book? Curtis Stone.
He actually
Is that a
does
book?
have. He actually has several books out there. I have a bunch of them, like front yard gardener. I'm a huge advocate of what he does. He's really cool. And he created a farm using other people's property. He didn't have any space there in Vancouver. So what he did was he just rented out other people's yards to create this certified organic lettuce growing operation. And basically he rode on a bicycle to all these locations and did all these
It's
things.
like
He had,
lettuce arbitrage. Lettuce
yeah,
arbitrage. That's
he grew
that,
microgreens, radishes, quick growing things that you can use in smaller spaces, things that have quicker turn times. And so he could flip a head of lettuce in about 4 or 5 weeks. And he could be constantly flipping that. And he would just rotate these things out. So he could make $23,000 per quarter acre.
that's crazy. You know, I was listening to the On Purpose Investor podcast, and this past week there's an episode on there where like basically those guys they just got a brand new house and it has a swimming pool in the back, and so they're renting out their pool for parties over like per weekend in the summer and making
Yeah.
money. So let me tell you, here's the easiest way. Everyone in the world that generates wealth in America generates it in one of two ways. And I can tell you, you're going to make your money in one of two ways, unless you inherited. I'm going to make money. Everybody that is in sort of lower middle class to get upward mobility does it either through the stock market or through real estate. They're the only two, if we're talking big money. And I really want to draw attention to real estate on here, because now we're not talking about side hustle. We're talking about an opportunity on the side to make you independently wealthy. What if right now, Jonathan, I could tell you how in 5 years you could leave your job? I can tell you right now. And then I'll tell you the resource that if you'll go read it, they'll tell you exactly how to do it. Would that interest you?
Oh, for sure.
Here we go. I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell, and then I'm going to tell you what you need to go download and read, because this is what he talks about. It's on our resource page. If you go to A Brodacious Life, which is right here on YouTube, you can see it if you're watching, abrodaciouslife.com, all one word. Click on resources, and Scott Trench wrote a book called Set for Life, and it's actually one of the things that I kind of do. So right now you have a house. You bought that house this year. And because you bought the house and you live in it, you got a lower interest rate. It's a great house. You bought the house, you live in it. You're fixing up your kitchen now. You're adding
Yeah.
value. Did you know if you bought one house this year, you got to live there 12 months, so you don't have to pay a capital gains tax, but you buy the house, you live there 12 months, you fix it up. At the end of that year, you have it fixed up. You then rent that house out to someone and you go buy the second house, because it's the house you're going to live in. You can do it again. Did you know that if each year for the next 5 years you bought one house, kept the house, put a renter in it, you'd have enough passive income that, depending on your situation, because you have so many kids, might take a little bit, might take 7 years. But the average person, 5 years, one house a year, if they're willing to move 5 times, it does 2 things. Number one, you could get enough rental income that you could leave your job. And here's the second thing: real estate comes down and it goes up. If you bought that house, by the time you reach the 5th year, the house that you bought 5 years ago, not only is it generating you passive income because somebody is paying rent, but the house has gone up in value, because the market will go down, but the market goes back up, which means in addition to your rent, you now have an equity position that you could leave your job. How do you keep buying rentals? Well, at that point, you just refinance the house, pull the equity generated out, and then you use that to buy the next house. Then on the 6th year, you go back to the house you bought on the 2nd year, pull the equity out, buy the next house. Only 5 years, 5 years, 5 houses, independently wealthy. Repeat the cycle. Scott Trench, Set for Life. And if you want to know the process for getting a house and fixing and go even deeper into that, there's a house on our thing called the Burr Bible. I call it the Burr Bible, but it's Buy, Rehab, Refinance, Repeat. I believe it's by David Green, but it's on our resource page as well. But I would recommend everyone right now read Set for Life. It'll completely change your life. And I can tell you that it works. I bought a house out in Grantville, Georgia. It was a crappy modular home. I do not recommend buying modular homes. It was a mistake, but I bought that modular home. It was in awful shape. I had to do lots of work, but because I held it long enough, I still turned a $20,000 profit on it. We could talk about real estate forever. I know we got to keep going. We need to do a whole separate episode on that, but I really get into this stuff. You can look at the Burr method. Check out, if you're looking for another podcast, we are not an affiliate. They're just the best podcast on the market. Type in Bigger Pockets, and they are so huge. They have like 5 different websites, but Bigger Pockets, you can go down. There's one called Bigger Pockets Rookie Real Estate Investor. Start listening to that thing. Man, the numbers will change your life. It will change your life.
My
Look, do you have a craft or a good that you're particular good at? This is something I know this is definitely true with you. Like you can bake, you refurbish items, you do like you literally do everything. Like talk to me. Your son does stuff with airsoft rifles, doesn't he?
So one of the things he's been getting into, we love playing airsoft. I got him coming on to do an episode just to kind of talk about airsoft and explain airsoft to other people. Because I've realized that when you talk about airsoft, people are kind of like, that sounds dangerous, you know. But he's going to come on and talk to us about it. But yeah, he's one of the things that he's been working on is creating custom rifles. And basically, if you not know what airsoft is, think of paintball, but instead of it shooting a big giant ball of paint, it's shooting just a little plastic pellet. So it does it sting? It's like an ant bite. It doesn't hurt that bad. And but it's a lot of fun. It's kind of different games and stuff that you play. But one of the things he's been working on is creating custom rifles that he can sell. So he's doing my rifle to practice on. He's going to be upgrading mine for my birthday, adding some upgrade aftermarket parts to it. And those aftermarket parts to install on are actually really hard to do. I don't know if you've ever had to take open even like a real gun or an airsoft gun, but there's a lot of detail that goes into it. There's lots of little screws. I took one of my rifles apart and I couldn't get it back together for like 3 days. It's really challenging, and he's really excited about it. So what he's doing is he's curating these products. And one of the things that I'm wanting to work with him on is creating an online business that he could start now at 17 years old. It's something he's really passionate about, and he can help curate these products that are out there using other vendors and then selling his custom guns that he makes himself. So he's providing a good and service to go together for his online presence.
That is so stinking cool. You know, your daughter has a business too.
Yes. So again, I feel like these, we're talking about like, just a straight up, craft or good. The skies are unlimited. She does goat's milk soap products. She does everything from creating detergents, bath bombs, the best beard balm that you will ever have in your life. Shampoo, shave bars. She does all of that using mini dairy goats right off of our farm. She's been doing that since she was 14 years old. Her sales have kind of gone down a little bit this year because she is in college. She's in her second year of college, but her last year in high school, she did almost $20,000 in sales from a product that she created right here off the farm. She needed a little bit of outside ingredients. Soap requires lye as part of one of the active ingredients that cures out. But lye acts as one of the stabilizers. So we had to bring in some lye and then a couple of some scented oils and things like that to make it all smell good. But generally speaking, we actually had all the products here, or we could trade for the products locally. So she had one that used honeycomb and beeswax. Well, we traded items, we traded eggs so she can get that beeswax from a local farm. So there's different products that you're out there. It doesn't always require money per se for you to sell or create goods. And also sometimes it just trade something. Maybe it's labor. Maybe, like we happen to have extra eggs at that point in time. We were getting about 8 to 12 dozen eggs a day off our farm. I miss those days. I'm not getting 0 eggs right now off our farms. They're a bunch of freeloaders. So, it's great that, that you can sell. And for those of us with land, generally speaking, there's a little bit more options. I'm going to do a whole separate episode, I think, a little bit about that. Not going too far down the rabbit hole, but there is kind of an other list that kind of goes along with those of us who have unlimited space, or we're not held to city ordinances and things like that. Like, Dr. J, on your new location, you're kind of out of the city. You could be selling hatching eggs. To buy an egg right now, it's about $5 for a dozen right now for some good eggs. But Josh, what if I said you can get $5 per individual egg by selling hatching eggs? So now you're talking about, $60+ for a dozen, doing the same exact work. Instead of just putting it inside of a carton, you're putting it inside of an incubator or selling it straight up quickly, to where they can put it in their incubator. There's different things out there that I've seen that make good money on a homestead that doesn't always translate to city. I kind of try to keep those two worlds separate because I don't want somebody to hear me go on a tangent of, I can give you 50 things that you could be making at your homestead right now, but those things don't always apply to people who are living in the city.
Yeah. What you said. I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, the moral, basically what we talked about, I think we could sum it up with is there are side hustles out there for everyone. My final advice would be find a side hustle that complements or adds value to either your interest, your main hustle, or something that you just enjoy doing. Try to monetize the things that you love to do. I've always loved houses. I've always been an entrepreneur. So being involved with real estate only made sense for me. I listen to podcasts, the amount of podcasts and information I consume in a week is crazy. So it only made sense that um I joined with you to create this great podcast and
Join
have
the
so much
process.
fun doing it. So
My
like I
favorite
would
part of the week.
say, yeah, me too. Like find you a side hustle that you enjoy doing. I mean, this podcast probably is the ultimate example of you and I were going to talk every week anyways. Now we just talk and we do our best to add value to other people while also having a great time in the process. And I think everyone has a chance out there to do the thing. And when you do that, we talk about what is a brodacious life. It's faith, family, freedom, finance, and fun. The cool thing about the side hustle is of course it's the finance side, but it's also freedom. I mean, you can take the thing that you want to do and just enjoy doing it. And I
Yeah.
just want to throw that out there for everyone.
Well, squad, it has been a fantastic week hanging out. We're just excited that you're here on A Brodacious Live. Make sure you hit that like, you hit that subscribe. Have you been to our YouTube channel yet? There's a YouTube channel out there and it's getting hundreds of views a week. So there's great content that's going to be there. There's also some content that we're working on that'll be posted singularly to there because obviously I can't quite do a cooking show via YouTube or sorry, via podcast. It'd be kind of weird for me to listen to the words or hear things sizzle, but we're working on some great content out there and we've got great guests. We're looking forward to having you. We've got so much great content coming out. We've got Jason Hopkins. There's Kyle Gillette. We have all of these amazing guests who are coming onto the podcast and we're very excited to have them. And we're ultimately excited about the level of content that they're providing. And so Kyle Gillette is talking about unlocking your full business potential. And then we've got Jason Hopkins talking to us about mental health for business owners. And it's just a great way that, again, there's just great content coming out. And that's because you guys are awesome and we enjoy being here. So we're going to see you next time on A Brodacious Life. Have a great week.